Welcome to my channel. Today we're making a Sophia the First cake. Oh, I love it. The first thing I did was I started with 3 6-inch round cakes, and I measured the doll to make sure that the cake would be the right height. And then I started to slowly carve off a dome on the top. Now, take my advice, anytime I cut off big chunks, I always regret it, so take off small bits at a time, even if you're confident. And then give it a good layer of buttercream. You can see my daughter's little mitts sticking out there. Then stick it in the fridge to chill and harden, and bring it back out and put a nice layer of white fondant. I use marshmallow fondant. I've got a recipe, and that link will be in the description. You won't regret it. It tastes delicious. Kids absolutely love it. And it's super easy, so give it a try. Make sure your fondant is nice and round and smooth. And as you can see here, I'm kind of pinching the bottom of the fondant down into the corner. That way when I cut the fondant off the bottom, it doesn't shrink up and end up being too short for the cake. So pinch that bottom and go ahead and strip it off with your fondant cutter or pizza cutter or whatever you've got laying around. Once I got that first layer of fondant on, I transferred it to my beautiful cake stand, the final place of the doll. And then I took some water and I painted it around the bottom, because we all know that sugar and water get sticky, so that's really all you need to get it to make a glue, is just paint that fondant with some water. I put a nice trim of purple ribbon around the bottom, fondant of course. And then I cut out the top where the doll is going to stick in. These little nibbles were delicious, and I shared them with my kiddos. Then I went ahead and took the doll out of the case. This cake was for my niece, and she is absolutely obsessed with sweet Sophia the First, so it was really cute. Now I put a bag over her head, and to protect her hair, I wanted to get her hair up there because I didn't want any of that hair getting in the cake, and I didn't want any of that cake getting in her hair, because I knew it was gonna get covered in powdered sugar or something if I didn't protect it. So next thing I did was I put on a half circle sheet of purple fondant, and I went ahead and cut off half of it down the side, down the half side of her dress, like so. And I stretched it just a bit, just to pull it tight so it didn't have all those wrinkles. I'm using a nice sharp X-Acto knife. I cannot praise X-Acto knives enough when it comes to cake decorating. I absolutely love them. I was trying to keep my face out of these videos because I didn't have any makeup on, but as you can tell, I'm paying more attention to the cake than I am my face or the video. Now, Sophia has 3 scallops in the front and 3 scallops in the back, so I went ahead and measured a third. I marked the marker for the third, and then I went ahead and carved in those scallops so that they would be of equal size and width. Make sure your knife is really clean for this part, and hopefully the fondant is not dry, otherwise it will break and not be a nice smooth cut. However, I use my paintbrush to smooth that out. You can get the paintbrush wet a little bit if you need to, but the brush really helps. Now here I'm using a fondant tool to make a nice divot down her dress to make it look like a beautiful seam. And on the back, once again, I put on some water and another half sheet or half circle of fondant and pressed down the middle seam so I could see where that seam was, and then cut right down it. And I added some water and then pinched it together so it also looked like a seam and would look seamless. Ba-dum-tsh. So there we go, just pinching it together, making it look natural and uniform. And here I'm marking another third so I can cut out those scallops of equal size. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, The Little Black Shade Tree, please do. I've got so much more fun content coming out. And if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. I would most appreciate it. I want to encourage you to be fearless in trying new things, so I have lots of different cool DIYs on this channel. Now I'm painting the rim of these scallops with water to make it sticky, and I'm using these little candy pearls, sugar pearls by a company called nuts.com. No, this is not sponsored. I really like nuts.com, and they sell I think only 1 bag of little sugar pearls, but man, is it a big bag, and it's lasting me forever. So now to put the top of her dress on, I went ahead and painted her little doll body with some more water, and then I put on a little shirt-like shape of fondant. cut off the excess, and I wanted to put sleeves on separately, so I went ahead and cut those sleeves off. And there's my little 3-year-old again, putting her empty bag of goldfish on the table. And I went ahead and cut off the extra off the bottom and around the sides. And I used my brush to soften the edges and painted on some more water for the back to put the back of her dress on. Perfecto. And once again, I just used some water to make the fondant sticky to hold it together, and it worked out really nice. Now for the sleeves, I rolled out 2 little sausage-like shapes of fondant, and I wrapped them around her arms. That was a lot simpler than I anticipated, so that was nice. And I noticed on her dress there's this pretty little pattern on her front, so I tried to replicate that. The pattern is in cute little pearls, but I always want to make a mark first to know where I'm going. And I just painted it with water again to make those pearls stick. It's finally time to take the bag off her head. Yay! I went ahead and painted on more water and marked with a cookie cutter where exactly I wanted the nice emblems on the bottom by the scallops, because I wanted to make sure that they were the same height and the same spacing all around. I took little teardrop shaped cookie cutters and cut out these 4 corners. I do have to admit, this little pattern was a bit of a beast, because when you don't have the exact cookie cutters, which I did not for the middle pieces, it was a bit of a challenge, but it looked pretty good. I also noticed online that people used stark white fondant for this part, and it looked too glaringly out of place. So what I did, if you notice, it's not stark white. I used a tiny bit of purple in there, so it's a much softer hue. So I went ahead in with my fondant tool and marked those little hip bump thingies. And I also put on her actual necklace, not fondant, just her toy necklace back on. And I put those pearls around on her little hip bump thingies. I can't remember what those things are called. I'm using my hemostats to stick them on there because my fingers are just too big to grab those teeny tiny little pearls. I also adorned the rest of her dress with a few little edible pearls. And there we go. She turned out so beautiful. My niece absolutely loved her. She was delicious and beautiful and elegant at the same time. So again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We would love to have you on this channel. I've got so much more material coming out. We are having a blast. I don't want you to miss it. And I'll see you in the next one.